past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first, not the last. לדור ודור נגיד לך. לדור ודור we protect this chain from generation to generation. לדור ודור these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our heart, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. לדור ודור נגיד לך. לדור ודור we protect this chain from generation to generation. לדור ודור these lips will praise your name. Mm-hmm.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is so delightful to see a pre-service oneg, a reception in the lobby, in the foyer, excuse me. You know, movie theaters have lobbies, we have foyers. Synagogues have foyers, okay? In the foyer. It's so great to see you all here and that you are joining with us on this Friday night. I bring you greetings from Rabbi Fader and Rabbi Alpert. Now this is one for the books, okay? Rabbi Fader is being inducted into the Clayton High School Hall of Fame this evening. And we are very proud of her for that, okay? And she's kind of embarrassed that it took her away from a Shabbat service. But I said, not to worry, I think we can handle it here at the temple. I sent her a note today and I said, you know, most of the people in my class would have been in the Hall of Fame except they're in Jackson State Prison in Michigan in my class. So I'm sort of like a member of the alumni of distinction of Cass Technical High School in Detroit because I wasn't imprisoned. It's great to see you all. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Our service, you're going to notice, is a little bit shortened, mainly because I'm not giving a sermon tonight, but we have something very special for all of us, and that is we're going to hear from one of our members, Gene Litvin, who has an extraordinary story to tell about work that he performed at the Poland-Ukrainian border. And I think this is a fascinating story, but not to get too much into it, but the most fascinating part of the story is where he's been, where he's gone, and how his life has changed or influenced the rest of his life. And it's something that we all need to pay attention to. Anyway, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Our service begins with Hine Matov, behold how good it is for brothers and sisters to dwell together in unity.
Hine, 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 matov. Hine, hine, Manayim shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim shever achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim shever achim gam yachad. Hine, 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 hine matov. Hine, 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 hine matov.
We turn to page 3 in our prayer books for the lighting and blessing of the Shabbat candles, and it's my honor to invite Liz Weinstein to come and bless and light the Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As our brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Okay, no matches. No lighter. Oh, okay. Thank you, Liz. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. It would be nice if I remembered the melody. Please join me in the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen.
You know that one.
And since all of you were eating before services, we say this motzi over matzah. Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
I think only during Pesach should the matzah precede the wine so that you can clear yourself after eating the matzah. We continue now with our service on page 29. O God, you are near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. We rise for the call to worship on page 28.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue now with the Shema on page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadevarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'am v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen. Page 38. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot vosef eleh, Norah tehilot vosef eleh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh.
Page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us the shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol yamo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros alenu sukat shlomecha, ufros alenu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Page 47. Prayer invites God's presence to fuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor bend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Please rise for tefillah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'imavot, Umevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Hoseh uMoshiach uMagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. On page 51, we read responsively. We pray that we might know before whom we stand, the power whose gift is life, who quickens those who have forgotten how to live. We pray for the winds to disperse the choking air of sadness, for cleansing rains to make parched hopes flower, and to give all of us the strength to rise up toward the sun. We pray for love to encompass us for no other reason save that we are human, for love through which we may all blossom into persons who have gained power over our own lives. We pray to stand upright, we fallen, to be healed, we sufferers. We pray to break the bonds that keep us from the world of beauty. We pray for opened eyes, we who are blind to our own authentic selves. We pray that we might walk in the garden of a purposeful life, our own powers in touch with the power of the world. Praise be the God whose gift is life, whose cleansing reigns let parched men and women flower toward the sun. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh, v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise your name every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Please be seated. On page 55. Disturb us, Adonai. Ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror and defeat and bitterness and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai, deny to us the false Shabbat which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. We continue with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. 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 Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. V'tov be'einecha livarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol et u'b'chol sha'ah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam.
We are at that time in our service when we offer a prayer of healing for those in need of a healing prayer of mind and body, And so we invite you, if you have someone you would like to have mentioned during this healing prayer part of the service, if you would, as we pass around the room, make that name known. Our prayer for healing is found on page 253, Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu, may the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'amotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Ose shalom bimromav, Ose shalom bimromav, Uyase, uyase, uyase shalom, uyase, uyase, uyase shalom, uyase, uyase, uyase shalom, aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom, bimromav. Oh, say shalom, bimromav. Uyase, uyase, uyase shalom, uyase, uyase, uyase shalom, uyase, uyase, uyase shalom, aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
Tonight, because of our guest and the program that follows the service, we're going to conclude the service with the Aleinu and Kaddish, and then we'll have our guest. So if you don't mind turning to page, and even if you do mind, turn to page 283 and stand for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. On that day, God's name will be one. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad u'shemo echad v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad. Our meditation before Kaddish is on page 291. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. In each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. As we turn to words of Kaddish, which we will find on page 294, we mention the name of one taken from us in recent days, and our hearts go out to her family as we recall her name in love, as we mention the name Beverly Garber. And in love and respect, we mention the names of those whose yahrzeits, the anniversary of whose passing, occur on this Shabbat, and whose names have been inscribed in the archives of our congregation or on the Wall of Honor for perpetual memorial. Harry Alschuler, Dr. Albert E. Auer, David Barron, Della B. Berger, Samuel Berliner, Janet Glickman Bloomberg, Ralph Bloomberg, Bernard Blumenfeld, Morton Brand, Oliver Braun, Eli Cohen, Grant Cohen, Manuel Coppersmith, Phyllis Custer, Ida E. Edison, Miriam Edlin, Arthur A. Epstein, Eva Heikenfeld, Richard I. Ferrer, Harold Fishman, Max Fox, Teresa Fremder, Virginia Freund, Bertha Gans, Beverly Garber, Betty Gershman, Carl Glazer Jr., Audrey Glavinsky, Sybil Goldfarb, Louis S. Goldman, Jane Freund Harris, Harry Holtzman, David Nevin Jacobson, Raphael Ralph Kalish, William Katz, Abe Cohane, Blanche Hamburg Com, Martin S. Cosberg, Jacob E. Lasky, Jeanette F. Liberman, Dr. Susan Strauss Lipschutz, Ralph Lowenstein, Louis J. Losses, Mina K. Lowenstein, Sam Manis, George W. Milius, Morris Missler, Dorothy Molaski, Joan Nackman, Annette Neumetzger, Anna K. Newmark, Solomon Offenbach, Edwin Olshansky, Isidore Pass, Evelyn Jane Perlmutter, Jacob M. Pollack, Rose Putterman, J. Ben Reichman, Dr. Milton Paul Reiser, Nathan George Rockman, Harry Rosenblum, Dr. Samuel Rosenkrantz, Louis J. Ross, Leo L. Rostenberg, Fred Fold Sale, Leah Mandel Salinger, Sidney Salinger, Hilda Schiffer, Marvin Schmidt, Jack Schumann, Leo Schwab, Clifford Allen Schanfeld, Lori R. Schanfeld, May Siegel, Sella Siegfried, Ruth B. Smith, Ruth Sobel, Robbie Spetner, Fred Suffian, Stanley D. Victor, Estelle Waschauer, Jacob Wasserman, Jonas Weil, Jesse Weiss, Audrey S. Weissman, Alan Winterman, Lester Wittels, Meyer Wolfman, together with those whom we name in our hearts as we stand together for words of Kaddish. Yitgadal, v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam milolmei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei dekudsha barichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nehemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and give comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Please be seated. It is now my honor to invite our guest, Gene Litvin, to come forward and come take a seat on the pulpit. We got to mic you up. He's got an assistant today. Derek, I need a microphone here. Is there one here? Did they mic you up already? Nope. Okay, we got a microphone coming. Take 5. No, we got one. So while this is happening, basically, I'm going to ask Gene to tell a little bit about his life and how he got from there to here. And then we'll talk about his amazing story in Poland at the Ukrainian border. How many of you have relatives that were born in what is now the Ukraine? How many of you have relatives that were born in Poland and came over here? Okay, now put Poland and Ukraine together. Put your hands together, okay? You see, one of the things that we hardly ever remember is that Jews in Poland and the Ukraine couldn't go into Russia. We were restricted outside the Russian state. We had to have special permission. Welcome, Gene. Thank you very much for agreeing to do this.
Thank you.
We can hear you. Can everybody hear him? Okay. So, Gene, where were you born?
I was actually born in Russia.
No, where in Russia were you?
In Siberia.
Okay.
And when I was 3 years old, my family moved back to Ukraine because my mom's family was from Ukraine. And they always wanted to go back to where our ancestors are from. And because of the restrictions on Jews in Soviet Union, if you lived in one town, you couldn't go to university there because there was a reverse discrimination.
So certain towns had quotas.
Yes.
So moving would help you get into the university?
Correct. So the less Jews are in town, the bigger chances of you getting to university. So Siberia was a big space, not a lot of people living there, and not a lot of Jews. So most Jews would go to universities there and then go back to the country. So both my mom and my dad went to school in Siberia, and I was born there, and then we moved back to Ukraine.
When the Soviet Union collapsed or broke up or whatever you want to call it, what happened with your family?
So there was a lot of worries that what happened to people during pogroms during Holocaust was going to repeat. So our family some of our family moved to the United States, and they invited us as refugees. We came to the American Embassy in Moscow, applied for the refugee status, and we fled Soviet Union. And as we were fleeing, the Soviet Union basically disappeared under our feet.
Because you left, they collapsed.
Exactly.
Okay. Your fault. Okay.
Yep.
At least they would have blamed you anyway. No matter what.
I mean, they blame us anyway.
Okay. So you arrived in the United States. Where did you first end up?
So we came straight to St. Louis. I didn't speak any English. So the only phrase I remember learning was, do you like such a nice weather?
I didn't hear that. What'd you?
Do you like such a nice weather?
Such a nice weather. Coming from Siberia, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And of course it was raining in St. Louis, so that phrase didn't go well.
How long did it take you to learn English enough to get by?
When I was because I was younger, 15, 3 to 4 months I was able to communicate. In my first high school experience was very difficult because trying to learn Hebrew, because I went to Black Yeshiva, so trying to learn Hebrew in English that I did not speak.
So you were learning Hebrew and English, speaking Ukrainian at home.
Yeah, Russian.
Russian at home, excuse me, okay. How many languages do you speak now?
3.
3. English?
Russian and Ukrainian.
Russian and Ukrainian.
Yeah.
You told me you spoke a little bit of Polish.
I do understand Polish. That's one of the reasons why I went there. Anybody who lived on the border with Poland and interacted with Polish people can definitely pick up Polish because it's very similar to Western Ukrainian. So it's more, so when I went down there, I was able to understand Polish people, and especially when they talk to their kids. Because my vocabulary was at the kids' level.
When you left, that was
Yeah.
frozen in time.
Yep.
Your vocabulary. You came here, and after Black Yeshiva High School, you went to the university.
Yep.
First, you went to Washington University.
I went to UMSL and I went to WashU.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you do in UMSL?
So I studied pre-med. I wanted to be a doctor.
Really? Okay.
And my family wanted me to go into medicine because that's a traditional Jewish profession in Soviet Union, and you can either be a lawyer or a doctor or engineer.
Or engineer.
Or engineer. So it's so I was a little disappointment to my family because I decided it was not my profession.
Yeah.
But thanks to my wife, there's still Dr. Litwin in the family.
Where did you meet your wife?
We met at a Russian-speaking party for New Year's. Russians do like to celebrate New Year's, so we met each other. And
we're talking not the Jewish New Year. We're talking the other New Year. Okay.
Yes, the one with snow.
Okay, one with snow. And there you met her at a New Year's Eve party.
Yes.
And she's a physician now and a professor, right?
And yes, in endocrinology, associate professor in endocrinology.
What are you doing?
I am in cybersecurity. I manage cybersecurity and compliance at Edgewell. So Shake, Playtex, Hawaiian Tropic, Banana Boat, that's our brands.
Okay. So an American consumer products company.
Correct.
Hires you to do computer security.
Exactly.
Okay. I want you to get the whole picture of this thing. because we don't want any immigrants in this country. We don't want any immigration whatsoever because they have nothing to add to this country at all. Okay, we got a physician, we got a computer security engineer, we got a professor of medicine, and gorgeous kids in the congregation. David and Ariella. Hi, Ariella. And Marina. Dr. Marina. Okay. So now let's get to the heart of the matter. So you are watching what is taking place in the Ukraine. And what do you do?
I am a big history fan. So when I was watching what was going on TV, I felt like the history was repeating itself. So every documentary around World War II, I saw just come to life. And the other reason why it was very personal to me, my dad was a military engineer. And he used to take me to...
Your dad was a military engineer in the Soviet military?
Correct.
Okay, just so you get the clearness, okay.
So we used to be able to...
How did they let him out of the Soviet Union?
He had to basically stop working for almost a year and a half.
So he would not be in contact with secret documents.
Exactly. So he gave up all his security clearances. He basically announced that he's leaving, which was very dangerous back then because it was very early and was still Soviet Union. But we were taking a big risk by trying to come here.
Well, let's get back to your story. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So as I was watching all the bombings, I felt like they're bombing my childhood because this was every city where my dad used to take me because whatever was Soviet military installations became Ukrainian. So the Russians knew exactly where to bomb because they were all old Soviet bases, Soviet silos, Soviet airports, airdromes. So I knew that I wouldn't be able to go directly to Ukraine. I was trying to do something. We started, like most people here, we tried to organize donations. Because I work for a consumer goods company and we make Playtex as one of our brands, so tampons and pads were one of the things that people were asking, so we collected a lot. So as I was...
Who told you what they needed?
As I was talking to our friends, I had friends in Poland, as I was talking to them, a lot of Ukrainian news channels that I watched tried to even compare what was Russian were saying versus, but primarily my friends from Poland who were telling me that
So through your business contacts, you had these friends in Poland?
Yes.
Okay. And modern communications, you were able to just pick up the phone and call them?
Correct. We used all modern communications.
So you spoke with them and said, what do you need?
Yeah, well, at first they were actually, even before the invasions, the Polish people were terrified because they felt something coming, even before Ukrainian people did. So even before this, we were already talking, they were preparing themselves because Poland feels like they'll be next. So they were getting ready, they were worried, they were gathering. One of my friends in Poland basically said he gathered all his documents to be ready to leave on the first sign of trouble. So he had suitcases ready, they had food prepared, so they can just pick up and leave. And that's Poland, that's not even Ukraine. So they were getting ready. So when the war started, they were ready to help because they knew exactly how Ukrainians feel.
Based on all your studies of history, you thought you were seeing history repeat itself?
Yes, and I prefer it to be history. So that's the reason when I saw that everything we collected, we don't know when it's gonna get there. So my first action was, I'm just gonna take suitcases and I'm gonna take it there. My wife wanted to go as basically Doctors Without Borders. So we got on the phone, we talked to basically World Health Organization representatives, and they were telling my wife that, don't worry, the Polish government got it, the medical system can handle all the refugees. Don't worry, don't go, you're gonna take somebody else's spot and everything's great. So
who was the somebody else that she was going to take their spot? Where were they coming from?
We don't know.
You don't know.
So as far as that goes, so while we're talking, I'm still talking to my friends on electronic means, and they're telling me that's as far as from the truth. There's not a single refugee camp in Poland. The hospital system is overrun. there's no medication, people are not being taken care of. And they told me, they said, just come here. The first 2 weeks of this, there were a lot of volunteers. They were turning volunteers away. There was a lot of outpouring of support. The week 3, the thing's just slowing down. It's only
In Poland.
In Poland.
Okay.
So they said, come, we need help, we need money, we need somebody to interpret, because people from Eastern Ukraine don't speak Ukrainian enough to understand Polish. So people in Eastern Ukraine only speak Russian.
And most of the refugees were coming from Eastern
Eastern,
Ukraine.
yes. They were more near Kiev. A lot of refugees that I met, they were actually from around Kiev area, around from Bucha. There are a lot of people. So they actually were showing me on their phones the destruction of their towns, where they built new roads. And there were 2 lawyers that I met, 2 wonderful ladies. It was their kids. They went to work, they came back, and the street is destroyed. So they just got in a car and just drove to the railroad station, got in. So they left they came to Poland with nothing, and they sat in the railroad station and waited for Polish people to come and accept them and take them to their houses. And that's what's happening there to this day. The Polish government is really, they've done some things. They've allowed Ukrainians to come without visa, which is a big deal because everybody needs a visa to leave Ukraine. They're not doing COVID testing, which is a big deal because they're not going to turn them away. And then officially they're saying they get health care and the kids can go to school, but the system is just, over 2.5 million people is not.
So your first impulse was to pack your bags, put all this supplies, material, whatever, and try to bring it all with you.
Yep.
Okay, then what happened?
Well, as I was talking to my friends, they said, bring money. Because we can buy everything here. So don't buy stuff here, don't try to ship it here. Just come with money and we'll buy everything we need here, because things change. Right now they need diapers. In 2 hours later they need formula. 4 hours later they need toothpaste. People come with different needs.
How long would it have taken you to get your stuff from the United States to Poland?
Some things are still sitting in warehouses.
In the United States?
In the United States.
Okay, so they said bring money.
Yes.
How did you bring money?
So one of the things that my wonderful wife did, she posted in a Physicians Mommy group. And
Physicians Mommy group?
It's a Facebook group,
okay,
which I used to give her trouble. She used to spend way too much time on it. And
but you have to be a mommy who's a physician.
Correct.
Okay. Or a physician who's a mom.
Which is a big trend right now.
Okay.
So we started there. We talked to a couple of relatives. We have relatives from Vinica, which is very, very Jewish town, and still a lot of Jews still live there, who chose to come back because Ukraine was becoming a much freer country. So a lot of Jews are choosing to come back and trying to rejuvenate Jewish community. So my relatives and everybody started collecting money. By day 3, we had over $5,000 in my digital account, my Venmo, PayPal.
So to get this straight, his Venmo account becomes the repository of money that's being donated for this purpose, okay? Venmo to Gene.
If there are any IRS people, I don't want to know anything about it.
Any
IRS people?
Oh, okay. Raise your hand if you're working for the IRS. Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, that was one of the things that worried me. I did not realize how much outpouring.
You are not a 501c3 corporation.
Exactly. I was not a nonprofit, and so every time I looked at my phone, more and more donations were coming in because the things were going viral. So by the time I landed in Poland, we had over $20,000.
How did you buy your airfare?
I had, because of COVID, because of travel, I had Delta credits, because for 2 years we didn't go anywhere and the tickets were basically expiring, useless. And as you guys know, you don't really fly anywhere on Delta from St. Louis. It's not a airline.
Certainly not to Poland.
No.
Okay.
So, but I was able to get my tickets through credits, which made it very easy to pick up and move because airfare is taken care of. One of my friends said, you can stay at my house, you can stay on the couch. So one of the things that we're warning other people not to come because they don't want people to take refugee spot. People are sleeping on the floor right now. People are sleeping on benches without pillows. That is a reality of life in Poland right now. A lot of refugees want to go back because
To Ukraine.
to Ukraine because they get there, they don't know what to do, they don't have work, they don't speak the language. They're not getting any help from the government. So unless they meet somebody who can help them, it is like there are still a lot of volunteers, a lot of Polish, but the amount of people and the amount of volunteer does not really, the ratio doesn't work in the refugees' favor.
With your Venmo money, you arrive in Poland using airfare miles. Then what happens?
One of my friend's friend picked me up in the Warsaw airport. We get our suitcases and we drop them off and we go straight to their version of Walmart.
The Polish version of
Walmart, yes. And so the first thing we did, and we took a lot of pictures because what I wanted to do is record, since people gave me money, I was very uncomfortable. I needed to record what I did with this money. So I started recording, going to the stores. And so we went to the store. My friend had a list from a high school that dedicated their gym to oncology, kids' oncology hospital. So, and that's how things...
They turned it into an oncology hospital because of the refugees coming over.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. And because there was no hospitals available, the school gave the gym to become the oncology ward, and people would... it was temporary bedding because the oncology kids were immunosuppressant, so they needed to be isolated. So, so we got a request from them what they need. So went to this version of Walmart and we start emptying shelves pretty much. So we had about 5 carts full of necessities.
People in the store look at you crazy?
No, they're used to it.
They knew what you were doing.
They know people are coming. They're not in the scale, but every day we were emptying shelves and the next day they were refilling them. So we kept going to different stores because of locations where we're going, and the list kept changing. So a lot of it is food items because nobody's giving them food. So clothing, they had enough, but because it was getting warmer, they still needed some clothing, but it was not as bad. But food, hygiene supplies, all that was needed, and we're taking that to the school. We took it to the railroad station. We took it to bus station. Then we went to a couple of houses where people were staying, so we just hand delivered stuff there. So that was probably a few times a day. That was a routine. While I was going there, my friend said, "Get used to not sleeping." So my friends who work there, Polish friends, they sleep about 4 hours a day, and thankfully, they still have energy to do this. I don't know how, because after a week, I still had adrenaline, but my compliments to them because they're and Ukrainians who come, they feel the support, they feel the energy that Polish people are giving them. So they're giving them strength.
Has something changed in Poland?
No, things actually gotten worse because government tried to step in, and they're not allowing people to bring donations directly to railroad stations anymore. The excuse is that they're afraid of bombings. So now they're redirecting people to go to nonprofits. It makes sense on some level because they wanted some kind of organization, but there's corruption. There's corruption in Ukraine, there's corruption in Poland. So Polish people are getting frustrated because they were outpouring their hearts and now they're getting denied that. So there's still no refugee camps. There's still not enough medicine. There's still no housing that the government subsidized. But hopefully things are changing.
There's a lot of things happening, but not from the government.
No, it's still everything is crowdsourced. Everything is momentum by people.
You were instrumental in setting up some kind of a store.
Yes, on the second day after I met the ladies, the were lawyers, they looked like they're very sad kittens because they thought their life was destroyed. They didn't know what they were doing. And my friend said, I have to take you there to meet them because I'm going to ask you for a favor. Tomorrow you need to take their kids and try to place them in school. So because they don't speak Ukrainian or Polish, you will be their interpreter because the principal of whose school speaks English. So, so as we were doing that, she said, but then after that, if you don't mind, take them to this place where they have a lot of clothes and they can just go in a pile and just get some stuff for them. And I remember coming here myself and not having a lot of things and hoping one day I'm going to be able to get something. So I looked at those ladies and I said, you know what, I'm going to take them to the mall. So we got the money, I'm just going to take them to the mall. So we drive to the
Polish mall.
The Polish mall,
Okay.
Which is very similar.
What
Actually,
was it called? What was it called?
Polish Galleria.
Polish Galleria.
But it was amazing because when I walked in there, it was like being in a galleria. It was just like it's eerie how close things were to like you don't realize where you are. Once you get in there, I guess it's uniform, the same malls are the same everywhere. So we get there, and it took half an hour for those ladies to become women again. They were walking, they were shopping, and I recorded some things for my wife because I said I never thought I would be so excited to see women shop because the transformation was amazing. And as we were walking, my friend met up with us and I was telling her the story and she said, I have an idea that we've been talking about. We want to do something. We need to talk to this mall and see if there's a space we can rent and turn this into a free shop. So now there's a store in Lublin called Free Odyag, which means free clothes. They went to IKEA, got all this set up from IKEA. They're getting donations from organizations around Lublin. I invested some of the money I brought with me, and I requested only one thing from ladies. I said, please hire those 2 lawyers to work there because they need to work. They need to work and they need to go somewhere. So as I was leaving, I saw like firsthand, and I was supposed to go actually paint because this is all volunteer work. So we were, but as every day goes by, I keep receiving pictures from them. The lines in the store, amazing, but the people are smiling. People are going there and they're actually shopping for free. Their Ukrainian passport is their credit card, is their visa.
And the setup of the store was because you were able to buy what you needed when you needed it.
Yes.
Okay. How hard was it to leave?
It was very hard. It was very hard to leave for one reason. I felt like my job was not done. I wanted to do more. And I made lifelong friends. And it was very touching. But it also, I knew that I was not going to be done. So I don't think I ever left. I think like my heart is still there. My wife will tell you I have a second job now. I talk to Ukraine and I talk to Poland every day. While I was there, we met with, one of my friends recommended me getting together with her friend who organized an American fund to help Ukraine. So what we were doing, so like you can just merge your Polish network with the Ukrainian one, and we can source supplies out of Poland, bring people out of Ukraine into Poland. So for the past months and a half, that's what I've been doing. Because the other thing that we've done is one of our relatives called while I was in Poland. She said, my cousin is trying to leave. And she's near leave. She's terrified to get on the train. She doesn't want to go, but she needs to. We don't know what to do. And the guy who I was driving and picking food up, he told me, I'm actually going to go to leave. I will pick her up. I'll find her in Ukraine. I will drive her to Lublin. So we got hold of her. He went to Lviv and he took supplies there and picked her up, took her to Lublin, which is down where I was, and we were able to find a house for her, and she got a job with a free shop. So it was definitely an operation, because finding her, there were shots. So I did hear one shot and I felt it, because there was about 20 miles from the border. When Polish president went to see Zelensky in Ukraine, Putin sent hello, and they was 20 miles from Polish border. So a lot of Polish heard that. So you could hear that in one of the kids that I was with, when we heard that shot, he told his mom.
Artillery fire.
He basically said, "Mommy, they're shooting again." 4-year-old. And
Already.
yeah, so and that was probably one of the most touching moments where and we told them, "Don't worry, it's a car. The car made the noise, muffler sound." But so that was a moment where I thought about my kids, and I was very happy they're not there. But not a moment went by when I did not think of them. But at that moment when I saw that kid, I want him the best. One of the things that I dreamt about is going to the store and buying as much candy, as much sweets as I could, and just taking them to the kids over there.
Did you do it?
Yes. Yes.
How much did you spend on candy?
I don't know. Probably $500. It was 2 carts full of candy, and there were pictures where my friend and I were giving them out. So I think when I was growing up and we had Polish people coming to Ukraine, I think that was one of my secret dreams, that one day they would bring us candy and gum. So that was our American dream.
You fulfilled it. Yeah. I'm sure people are going to have some questions. Before we open up to questions, did you see anything in regards to your historical knowledge of the past? Did you see anything that surprised you in this whole thing?
Well, one thing that surprised me were that people used to think that Polish people are very anti-Semitic, and I saw complete opposite. When I told my friend that I was Jewish, where I stayed, she called her mother and she insisted that I meet her mother, and it turned out to be that her family was one of the families that were saving Jews from Majdanek, which is a concentration camp near Lublin. And it's the other thing that we don't realize. It's the majority of Polish people who are actually decent, and the minority is the one that's making that, the bad memories for us. And right now, what they're doing in Lublin, there are very little Jews left in Lublin, and it's Polish people in Lublin. They're trying to remember the Jewish history of their towns. So their museums, their stuff. I told them I don't want to go near concentration camp. I'm here to stop this from happening, to prevent this, not to go and look at this. So
you're not a historical tourist.
I'm not a historical tourist. I came there for different reasons.
If you'd like to ask a question, we ask that you come to this microphone and state your question. If you'd like to ask a question.
Sometimes it's hard to understand you.
Frank, I need you to talk louder, please.
Sometimes it's hard to understand what you're saying. How many weeks or how many days were you actually?
I was there for 1 week.
Just 1 week?
For 1 week.
And what city were you in?
So I was in Lublin, and I was also in Warsaw. So I spent 5 days in Lublin, and I spent 2 days in Warsaw.
How far is that from the Ukrainian border, each of those?
So Warsaw is farther, Lublin is pretty much on the border. It was about 20 miles from the border.
At what point did you feel the goosebumps first?
As we were leaving Warsaw, because there were trucks going straight to the border. So as we were leaving Warsaw, there were ambulances from all over Europe. There were fire trucks from all over Europe, and they had Ukrainian flags, and you could see the movements to the.
So they were going across the border into
to
Ukraine.
The Ukraine, correct.
Okay.
and that became real.
What year was it you came to St. Louis?
92.
Okay, now I got it, thanks.
How much money did you spend in 5 days in Poland?
Over 20. Yeah. On Warsaw, we went to a pharmacy, and just in one pharmacy was $3,500 on medication. So we had a truck full of medication.
Mostly insulin?
No, it was all insulin was actually not, we couldn't get insulin. We got everything but insulin, and because it needed prescription. So I was able to get it later because we had a doctor's order prescription from Ukraine come in, and that got to Ukraine after after I came to the United States.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. But I'd like to know, when you were in Ukraine, I mean, is this what's just happened these last months? Is that something you always were worried about, or is it something
Yes.
people feared and you all prepared for it, or the government did?
What happened in Poland was what everybody thought was going to happen all over Soviet Union when it dissolved. So what happened in Ukraine? I'm sorry. We all were worried. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to leave, because anytime there's turmoil, people look for different people, look for Jews. So that's one of the reasons why our families, because we were kids, so our families wanted to leave, because we've gone through generations like this. There's memory in generations where anytime something happens, so the people that stayed behind didn't get to experience, because most of the Jews left. So now they're turning on each other over there, because it would be easier to find somebody else who would be at fault for poverty that's happening in Russia, for corruption that's happening in Ukraine. It's easy to pick an enemy when somebody does not look like you. And that's what they're doing right now. They're making Ukrainians look evil. But otherwise, it could have been us.
It would have been.
Thank you.
Well, in case someone else is coming up for a question, that's great. Keep coming. But I wanted to share with you guys that we have a way for. No, David, you can't.
You cannot ask questions.
He can ask a question. 1 second, David. Okay. If you'd like to participate in the funding of this kind of activity, please come up after the program is over, and we'll give you these, and it'll tell you how to do it. Okay. We've got extra ones for you to take with you if you like. David, go ahead and ask your question.
I think you know I'm already asked that.
Like I said, I was only there for 1 week, but the stories never end. And one of the stories that my son really liked when I was there is when I went to Warsaw, my friend that asked me to stay with them, he told me, but let me talk to my family first. So he had a 4-year-old son. And his 4-year-old son, when he found out that there was going to be a guy from Ukraine staying there, he was worried, because it was somebody foreigner staying with them. He was really worried. But then my friend said, he's from America. And when he was telling me, he was crying. He said, his son said, Captain America is coming? So I became Captain America.
Captain America.
So, but what I was telling my Polish friends, because they thought I did something special, which they're the ones doing something special, and I gave myself a nickname. I was just a flying wallet. That was my nickname.
A flying wallet. Okay. Buying in the Polish version of Walmart, which is called what?
I don't even remember.
Oh, okay.
This is the thing. The whole thing was so surreal. As just the names of places, the
You were
stores.
also time messed up.
It was the only thing I remember is the wonderful people of Poland and very, very depressed and deprived people of Ukraine.
Gene, thank you very much for being with us. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.